discuss the following. We'll be discussing the parallelogram, how to solve parallelogram. Okay, so solving is our main goal for the second video. So how do we go about doing solving? Well, you got this. Based on what we discussed earlier, based on what we discussed in the very first video, we will use the very exact concept to do this. So let's dive into what this question is asking us. It wants us to find x and find y. All right, how are we going to go about doing that? Well, we got this. Tell yourself, say, I got this, right? So you learned previously that opposite sides of parallelograms are congruent, right? That symbol stands for congruent. You learned that from the last video. So we need to get this side is congruent to this 23. So let's do our math over here. I'm going to write 2y plus 7 equals 23. And I'm going to solve this. So you ready? Set, go. So first thing you would do is subtract 7 on both sides. Goes away over here. We have 2y equals. Question is, what is 23 minus 7? You would say that it equals to 16, right? Got it. So now, what do we do next? You divide by 2, you divide by 2, you get y equals 8. So I have my value of 8. Great. Keep that. That's a good job. Keep y equals 8. Now we have to find x. To find x, again, this side, opposite side, the 6x plus 1 equals the 19. So what should we do this work? Let's jump it over here. 6x plus 1 equals 19. Let's solve. All right, what would you do first? Think. Hey, subtract by 1 on both sides. We get 6x equals 18. Then you divide by 6 on both sides. You get x equals 3. All right. We're good on that. Now what? Done with numero uno. Let's move to number dos. Number dos, you also learned the following in the previous video. The previous video also described the opposite sides. So let me write it somewhere here. Opposite angles this time. Opposite angles of parallelograms are congruent, right? That's a symbol for congruency. They're congruent. So what does that mean? That means that this right here is congruent with the 35, right? Right. Same thing. The 4x minus 35 also got to be congruent to 145. So let's do our work. So the 2x minus 55 equals to 35. All right, so you will have to add 55 on both sides. So what is 35 plus 55? Well, I get 90. 90 on that side. When you divide by 2, you get x equals 45. All right, I have my x. Good. X equals 45. We're pretty much done here. It looks like we just need an x, so I don't see a letter y. But if you wanted to go furthermore, the question is asking you to find this angle right here. All you have to do, the fact that you now know what x is, just plug it in right there for x. So there'll be 4 times, and we say x is 45 minus 35. Let's find out what that equals to. What is 4 times 45? As you know, I have my calculator next to me here. I'm going to plug it in. It tells me, it gives me specifically 180. If you take 35 away from 180, you should have 145. And if you see, the diagonal also matches the opposite angle of that matches to 145. So it needed to be the exact same number, same answer. All right, moving on to number 3. With number 3, we're still using the previous property knowledge that we all know of. So to find this angle x, right? So we, in the parallelogram, we discussed that we have parallel lines, right? So that's why parallelogram is always spelled with 2 L's. So if we have a line, if you have a line right here, a parallel line right here, and a parallel line right here, we can say that the alternating interior angle, if that's 22, then x has to be 22 as well. So I already covered x. Next, if you say that this is 47, then 47 needs to be here as well. You with me? Let's look at the 50 over there. And if you say that this is 50, because that's parallel to this line, if that's 50, then y got to be 50 as well. That's pretty much it for that number 4. Let's look at for number 3. Let's look at number 4. With number 4, it says the following. In our property, we discussed that there's diagonals. You see this diagonal line right here? They bisect one another. When they bisect one another, it means that they create two congruent equal sides. So this got to be congruent to this, right? So let's do this. If AC was 8, AC is this purple line that I'm going to draw right here. If this purple line is 8, then that means this got to be half of that 4 and half of that 4. So AE is 4. Now this next question is for me to find Y. So it's referring to the next one over here. This line has to be congruent to this line. So all I have to do is set them equal to one another. And then we're going to solve it. All right. So I'm going to move this upward. We have some room. All right, let's solve this thing. So now all you really have to do is to solve this, I will just get rid of Y first. That gives me 3Y. And then I will add 3. That would give me 12. I would divide by 3. I get Y equals 4. Here we go. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. So we used a previous video number 1, to kind of give us all the property knowledge so we were able to do this part. All right, thank you.